just doing this. I'm watching Elon Musk videos, and he has a video where he says he doesn't care if you have a college degree, and that's the title. That's what the comments are about. You know what I mean? That's the focus of the video. But what I thought was interesting is the full thing he says is, I don't care if you have a college degree. I just want to see a track record of exceptional ability. And that's interesting to me because we often, the take of college is overrated is very popular right now. But I rarely see people asking how to build a track record of exceptional ability or saying that that's what one should pursue instead of going to college. And so I think this is something that comes up a lot when people say college is overrated. They go, well, it opens doors. It teaches you things, as if there's no opportunity cost to those 4 years. Like there's nothing else you could do. And basically, Elon said it in a way that I hadn't heard before, but I really like, which is you're going to be fine as long as you spend that time building up something that you can show people shows you're talented. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just think he's a really smart guy, and he often cuts through a lot of the noise. And I just thought that was really interesting. Yes, college is just a bad proxy for trying to figure out if you're talented.
I mean, we hired, our first big hire was Ivan, and he didn't go to college, but he did start a business and sell it for 7 figures.
That's a track record of exceptional ability. He beat out everyone with a college degree.
Didn't ask once for his GPA. Didn't ask for his, did not care. Probably he was one of the few people that applied without a college degree. He was probably one of the few.
I mean, some people probably applied in college because they just didn't read the job description.
Yeah.
But no, and so I just thought that was really intelligent advice for people who are trying to, I'm in high school, I'm in college, I don't know what to do. Grad school is being promoted to me, or college is being promoted to me.
Justin, did you go to college?
Yeah.
Okay, Justin went to college. I was
going to say,
did we only hire non-grads?
No, it's just interesting. Yeah, the point is to just have.
Did you go to UCLA?
Have talent.
No, I went to Boston University.
Why are you wearing UCLA shirt?
I have friends from UCLA.
Okay.
No, but we, our video editor, I don't know if she went to school for video editing. I have no idea what.
I've never asked Justin that question.
Is,
I have no idea.
But she is very talented and sent us a reel of her edits, and we hired her. Same with our other video editor, actually, Andre. Did he go to college?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
I know I can tell you.
He sent us a video that he had edited, and we went, this is much better than what we currently have. You're hired. So yeah, it's funny because
Dude, if you ask me what grades the people who work with us have gotten, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
But I guess what I'm saying is that's weirdly enough going to be true for most employers. Like, we're not the exception. If you want to go to SpaceX,
I think as time marches forward, it's probably not the case today, but I think it's increasingly going to be moving that direction.
No, I think the mistake people have been making is comparing people with college degrees to people with unimpressive resumes.
If you're just to participate, because I went into consulting and you went into iBanking. Really what it is there's a tunnel/funnel that starts in college, and you have to walk through it to pop your head out in investment banking or consulting.
Except there was a kid. So every person that I worked with at Blackstone, everyone was basically Ivy League-esque, maybe University of Chicago economics degree. But there was a guy from University of Wisconsin. He had networked his way into the job. He had proven that even though his resume college-wise wasn't as good as a Wharton or Harvard grad, something he had done made him beat out thousands of Ivy League kids. So I don't know what that was, but he had proven to be exceptional.
They don't have campus recruiting probably at Wisconsin. Yeah.
No, absolutely not. He's the first person that Blackstone had hired from there, I believe.
Interesting.
And I don't know how he did it, but it's a good example of a guy who was like, yeah, I'm not going to pay $200,000 to go to an Ivy League school. I'm just going to go where I'm from, and I'm going to be exceptional in other ways. And I'm going to beat out. I mean, we hired 8 people.
Yeah.
He was one of them. He beat out thousands of Ivy League kids. So I think it's been, unless you're a doctor, I think it's been accessible the whole time, actually. But it is more convenient to go the beaten path. But I just thought it was interesting that Elon doesn't care. We don't care. Blackstone didn't care. It's actually not a requirement. It's just for the people that don't know what else to do. So they just go down the path. And by the way, I'm not knocking you.
Yeah.
I went as far down the middle of the fairway as you possibly could to like 25. So it's not a knock on anyone who is following the path.
It's also really hard. Clever. Being 19, and I get these questions, what should I do? And I remember kind of being 19 and going, what the heck? What do I like? People ask me, like, what do you like? like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I've never really had the option to say what I liked. I've only had vanilla, the same sort of
And
life.
that's the tragedy of high school. Is a good college won't take you if you don't just do the all honors 4 years of language type thing. So you don't get a chance to explore. I have no idea if I like working on cars.
I stopped taking Spanish in high school. And then when given the option to travel the world, I purposely learned Spanish and learned Portuguese and was interested in language. And I could tell that same story over and over, that the things that high school ostensibly exposed me to wound up being so dry and such watered down versions of the real joy of whatever that subject was that I thought I hated it. And
I hated English class.
Yeah, me too.
I have read so much in my free time in the last 10 years. Nonfiction, fiction, an absurd amount of books that are gigantic. And I could not be bothered to read anything in English class. I would spark notes it because I hated reading. I don't know what they do in school, but they make everything miserable.
Well, Astral Codex 10 is the new blog of Slate Star Codex. I've said the name wrong a couple times. And the guy did a book review, and at just one point he's reviewing the book because they're talking about revamping education, and he says that schools are children jails. And when I read that, I was like, I felt that, because that was exactly how I felt in school.
I liked school. You hated school.
I have dreams about being trapped, and it's always in school. I hated it. And he makes an interesting point that, while not necessarily true for every kid, and I don't know how this scales, that for some kids who are bullied or bored or whatever, that it is not an exaggeration to say that school for those kids is torture. There are kids that cry in the morning many days before going to school, before they're just beat down. You know what I mean? And learn to deal with it. I was a kid who faked sick so often that they knew who I was. And I had stupid little ploys where I'd say that I had a fever and a stomach ache. So if you gave me medicine for the fever, then the stomach would get really bad. I had all of these, and I never had a fever. And I would go into the bathroom and try to heat up the thermometer on the light. Man, at one time it came back 115. I broke the thermometer basically.
Did you go home that day?
I did not go home that day.
Great.
They knew, and every now and then they would just let me. They knew I was full of it, though.
Yeah.
And thank God for Mrs. R. I remember her, man. I knew the school nurse. I remember her a little bit better than I remember some of my teachers because I tried to get out. But yeah, for some kids and kind of myself, it's jail. I mean, they make the point that, dude, you have to raise your hand to go take a piss. May I go pee? You have to do that up until 12th grade, at least where I was. And again, if you don't do that, you get chaos in these sort of schools because you get one kid who runs down the hall. So you have to have these rules. I know that they have them for reasons, but it's still wild.
I remember the first time in college, I raised my hand to go to the bathroom. The teacher was just like, "What are you doing?"
Just my training.
Yeah.
You know,
can I go to the bathroom? They're like, what are you, 7? Get out of here. Just go to the bathroom. I was like, what?
Sorry, dude, but we all have been begging permission to defecate for years.
No, I was 18. I was just a freshman.
Yeah. So I was just, I had flashbacks as I read that. And it doesn't sound like that was your experience, but that was how I felt.
I don't know, man. I just got a lot of praise for doing well in school. So I just got to go to school, hang out with my friends, and then make my parents proud of me.
Yeah.
So it was a solid gig.
Solid gig. It's good for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I sucked at cursive. Anyway, we can get to
speaking of school, I got another Elon Musk thing. I don't even know if I wrote this down, but it's funny. He had some kids, looked around at schools, but before he did that, he thought to himself, what do I think education should be? And then didn't find any schools that taught that way. So just started his own. He started with first principles instead of if I were a parent, would just reflect on my own education and then go, does this look like what I had? Okay, good enough for me.
Yeah. He
started with, what should education be? None of this is good enough. And I just think it's interesting how his mind works like that.
Yeah, you're going to, I think, make a video, but the questions that he asks are of such a high caliber. How could we do this at 1/10 the cost and 10x the speed was like the boring company question. Why is rocketry so expensive? And how could we do it for 1/10 the cost? And he's like, well, you'd have to reuse the rockets. Okay. Let's, why not? We reuse all this other stuff. Let's do it. Everyone
else would be trying to figure out, how do you cut fuel costs 5% by making a slightly more efficient engine.
The 10x principle is deeply ingrained into him. The same thing, like, okay, AI is coming. How do we even begin to stop it from just overrunning us? Well, we need to be 10 times faster. Well, how do we do that? We need computers in our brains.
I do also think he benefits greatly from survivor bias. He was very close to going bankrupt on everything.
Yeah.
I don't think that people realize this. His original intent when he was starting his companies was to take half his PayPal payout and invest it in SpaceX and Tesla. And if that didn't work, let it go. Because he said, I've got X millions of dollars. If I lose half, I'm fine. Both of them burned through that money without success. And he had the option to let them die or put all of his money into them. And so he put all of his money into them, and friends started paying his rent and food.
Wow.
And SpaceX had 3 failed launches, and they were doing their 4th launch. And if that launch had failed, even with all of his money, it was over. There was no more funding to come. And that rocket happened to have successfully re-landed or successfully launched. It did what it had to do. But that was it. It was just one mistake from the death of SpaceX.
One guy who doesn't tighten a screw the right way. Or
that's it. One wire that gets crisscrossed. And that would have been the end of SpaceX, which is now going to get internet all over the world and is considered a genius. And Tesla's the same. Tesla had massive manufacturing difficulties and were on the brink of going bankrupt a few times if they hadn't gotten a certain launch done, or if they hadn't been able to get their manufacturing up from 1,500 cars a day to 2,000. It's interesting because now he's second richest person in America, considered a genius, cult following. A couple of coin flips don't go his way. He'd just be completely bankrupt.
Yeah.
So,
and also he'd have a tough time fundraising after that.
Yeah. No. And to me, I actually quite like him. That's not a ding on him. I'm just, as I'm doing this video, learning about this, and it is interesting to see how close he was, because now it's considered obvious that Tesla was going to be a success. You're an idiot if you didn't invest in Tesla. It's obvious that SpaceX is better than NASA. This was just a couple of bad breaks away from being complete nothing.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, I don't know if this is actually the case. If it is the principle that the greatness teeters on the edge of obscurity. Like if Michael Jordan had missed a handful of shots in a couple of key games.
Yeah, he got 6 championships. I mean,
I'm saying he might have had 3.
He'd have to miss a lot of shots.
Yeah.
I think Elon was really close to
the other thing is
double bankruptcy.
I see what you're saying, but it's also possible that, let's say the 4th rocket explodes. He would have found a way. He would have found a way to get a 5th rocket. Like, because like you said, the story, if he hadn't put the rest of his money, is, and I was down to the allotted amount, and thank God that 2nd rocket worked. Mm-hmm. Like, he kept extending the field. He's, nope, I'm going to spend all my money. Nope, I'm going to take friends' money. Nope, I'm going to, like he was going to get, he probably had 8 rockets.
He will tell you he was out of money and that they were done if it explodes. That was his mindset. But that day, not in hindsight, he says, that day I sat there and I thought, if this fails, this is dead. Now, maybe he would have woke up the next day with renewed vigor.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was also doing 22-hour days for Tesla at one point. I don't know how much more juice he had to give.
He still is. He's a lunatic.
He sleeps 6 hours a day now. He's very proud of it.
Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description, and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.